Hi, this is Brian King. In this lesson, I want to talk to you about the importance of informants. And let me give you a little context for where this concept came from, for me at least. In my college education, one of the classes I took was cultural anthropology. And to this day, I'd say it was probably my favorite college class that I ever took. Because it was so fascinating to see the variety of cultures on this planet and how people could perceive the world, what they could believe about it, in terms of how the world worked, how it was created, how families were created, the different way people could be related to each other, how they saw their place in the world, and so on. It's fascinating to see that variety. But one of the things that stood out to me the most was the anthropologists themselves and how they were always immersing themselves in cultures as outsiders, going off into different places, different areas of the world where people dressed differently, had different eating habits, different ways of practicing their spirituality, their religion. And one thing that the anthropologists just took for granted is that they would need somebody on the inside to tell them how things worked. They went in looking for informants. And those were people that were open to them, receptive, willing to discuss their culture openly, all of their rituals, all their practices, all their beliefs. They served as the insider on how that culture did themselves as a people. Well, not knowing about my unique neurology, what some people refer to as the autism spectrum, and not knowing that I really didn't know what was going on socially, I kind of had this internal knowing about myself that I didn't get what the heck was going on half the time in social situations. So this idea of being able to just openly and comfortably and confidently going in to a foreign culture and saying, hey, I'm new here. I don't know what's going on. I don't know your rules. I don't know your protocol. Is there anybody who'd like to bring me up to speed? That's essentially what the anthropologist was doing. And it occurred to me in social situations, we can do the same thing. There are a lot of social trainings out there that advocate knowing or trying to figure out before you're even in that context what the rules might be, what people might be thinking, what they might be expecting of you. Knowing these things completely out of context, well, that's completely absurd. You don't know what people are thinking, you don't know what they're feeling, you don't know what the protocol is until you are there and until you ask. That's one thing that is missing so often. We're just encouraged to show up and just get it, just know, just pick up the cues. That's nonsense. It's asking way too much of us as individuals, and it's completely disrespectful to the members of the group. Because we are relying upon ourselves to assume what they need, what they think, and what they feel, when they are really the only ones qualified to let us know those things. We need to be comfortable walking in as an anthropologist and saying, hey, I'm new here. I don't know what the rules are. I don't know what the protocol is, but I want to show you all the respect you deserve of honoring the rules you have for the way things are supposed to go here. So who would like to bring me up to speed? And we do this already in a variety of settings, but it's typically in a more structured, organized way. For example, a new job. You have a mentor. You have somebody who gives you the orientation, which is essentially somebody welcoming you as an outsider, knowing you don't know what the protocol is, so they take some time aside to show you what the protocol is. Maybe you read the employee handbook, you attend a few meetings, some trainings, and then you hang around with somebody who shows you the ropes that you can bounce questions off of. It's more formal, but we don't realize that that's what we're doing. We have an insider, we have an informer. When you start at a new school, you have your orientation, you have your tour. Maybe nowadays, when my older boy began junior high, he had a peer, I can't remember what the word they used for it, but some kind of a buddy to kind of be there for him the first week until he got oriented. It was somebody who was a little bit older than he was. So all throughout life, in more structured settings, we have little informers that are set there for us. But in the more unstructured settings, which is where we typically need them the most, it doesn't occur to us to look for informers. Instead, we raise the bar ridiculously high and we don't allow ourselves those simple opportunities and rights to ask questions. Instead, we ask ourselves to mind read and assume and do all those things that have a greater than likely opportunity to sabotage the very thing we want, which is to effectively enter this group and be a member. So the lesson here is allow yourself the right to not know everything about a situation. Honor the fact that you are a student walking through life. And in a situation that you want to enter, there are people there that have been there a lot longer than you have and have a lot to teach you. And unless they're complete jerks, which unfortunately some of them can be, there are those who are willing to take you under their wing and show you the ropes. And I know this is a short lesson, and every lesson here for you is not intended to teach you absolutely everything because I don't know all the questions you have. So take the opportunity here to ask those questions. Start a conversation so that you can learn even more and take this lesson even deeper. So I hope what I've shared so far is very helpful and useful for you. If you have any questions about how to apply it or problem solve it, ask. That's why I'm here. Great talking to you, and we'll talk to you soon.